Okay, moving on over here, we've got a couple accidents. Obviously, as we got a little overrun by some of the casters in this quest, but nothing we can't handle for sure.
Thank you. Sorry.
And luckily, we've got some people who can res here. It looks like Oncase taking on the resing here, and it's interesting because you see a different group dynamic in different groups, which may sound stupid at first, but there's a lot of groups in which they need a healer, like a prominent cleric or favored soul healer. There's groups like ours here that seem to take on maybe a partial healer like a druid, or maybe even groups that just say be self-sufficient, but somebody's in charge of taking on the resurrections, as resurrection is one of the skills in this game that is available to a couple different classes. See, I love how this what's it called here, Relentless Fury. It's one of my favorite parts of having this Black Dragon armor. As you can see, it's one of this. Damn it, hold on, let me pay attention so I don't get everybody killed here. Oh shit, yeah, you know what? I feel like hold. For those of you who've played this game, or obviously as you can see, it's like a freaking 6-second enemy stun. Probably one of the most OP'd, NPC attacks in the game. It's just such bullshit that a freaking newbie monster can just freaking hold you for like 6 seconds when you can't do shit. Obviously, one of the things you see going on in this group that is a mark of a more advanced group is the attack of the casters before the melees. If you're in maybe not a novice, or maybe even a better group that's not novice but not up to the same level of gameplay, you'll see they'll be attacking the melees or other types of miscellaneous melee creatures before they attack the casters, which is one of the biggest mistakes actually made in this game, is when a group doesn't shoot for the clerics first or the casters, and they just continuously attack the melees while the casters mob the whole group. And a dynamic like that can certainly lead to the overpowering of the group and the failure of a dungeon. So, I mean, that's definitely not good, and that's something you want to look out for in this game. Looks here like Sylvania is our resident trapper going on here. And trapping, a trapper, especially a build like him where he's kind of like a monk trapper thing going on, or just a normal rogue, it's a hard thing to take on. I definitely don't recommend it for someone who hasn't played through the game before, or someone who just hasn't necessarily played through a lot of the quests or hasn't had a lot of experience, because really, to be a sufficient trapper for a group, you should know where the traps are. I mean, well, you're expected to kind of know where the traps are. You're expected to kind of know which, see, as you can hear by listening to him talk, he kind of knows the route in which we need to be going, the traps in which we need to dodge, and it's your responsibility as a group not to overpower his decisions, not to run past him and die, because dying in this game, everything in this game has a penalty. As you can see, you can get an experience report in the middle of the quest where it shows how many monsters have been killed by each player, how many traps have been disabled by who, secret doors that have been discovered, breakables, which are, pots, miscellaneous boxes that have been smashed, how many times you've re-entered the quest without dying, how many deaths, and all those things have different effects on your experience. As you can see, you get a bonus for not re-entering the quest. There's also a bonus, which we have lost, for dying. I believe it's a 10% bonus that you will gain if you have no deaths. And then, as you play through, you get a variety of other bonuses coming in from whether or not you get a lot of breakables done, whether you kill as many monsters as you can, or you kind of zerg, which is an MMORPG term mostly with quests or dungeons in which you skip the monsters and just try to run through to complete the objective as fast as possible, while not regarding your other teammates or really anything else except for completing the objective as a singular player and finishing the quest. And I'm not against zerging. It has its time and place, especially for speed leveling for a lot of the true incarnate players. And if I didn't explain this, the people who true reincarnate, which, as I said earlier, allows you to move back to level 1. Well, I mean, technically, you will actually just keep progressing in levels, but it will show you in game as being back to level 1 to those who aren't on your friends list, in which you will get a chance to replay through it with a different build, different class, even plenty of differences in which it allows you to replay through with better stats, better bonuses, and whatnot. Those TRs, every time you TR up to the 3rd true reincarnation, you can true reincarnate 20 times, in which you win the game. But up to the third true reincarnation, it becomes exponentially harder and harder to get experience in this game and to level until a third true reincarnation, in which it's the experience rates stay the same. As you can hear them talking, you can hear them talking about whether this is a use or lose shrine. Those are terms you get to know as you play the game. I mean, these are shrines, which here's a resurrection shrine and a rest shrine. Essentially, the rest shrine, if you rest at it, you get once per every 15 minutes in each quest, which you usually won't wait for. You'll just use it and move on throughout the quest. Or resurrection shrine, you get as many resurrections as you want. If you can die, you have about a 10-second. You drop a stone, which is your soul stone. And from that soul stone, you can run about 10 seconds before it resets you back to where that stone, where you died. And if you can run to a resurrection shrine, or have your teammate bring you, or bring your body to a resurrection shrine, you can actually resurrect back into the game while taking a slight penalty that lasts a couple minutes on your attack rolls and damage rolls.
I don't know, they're not hitting me.
Wow, this is a deep. This quest is deep with traps. I mean, I knew this because I've run this a variety of times, but this is definitely a trap-heavy quest. Anyway, back to the shrines. Use or lose is a term that essentially means, will we be circling back to this shrine? So will it be more, I guess, HP and mana efficient to use it now? Or should I try to, use the reserving HP and mana I have left in order to come back and use this shrine later when I really need it, considering that huge time period you have between uses on the same shrine? Oh, as you see Daddy here, they're trying to, it looks like we're trying to snake through these traps. Oh, well, look at that. Didn't even have to disable it. And that's pretty lucky, considering the majority of the traps you definitely don't have that option to just kind of try to stealth through it. More traps coming up here. And as you can see, just by playing this game, it's really on a whole nother level. It's on a whole nother level between this game and then a lot of the other MMORPGs below it. I mean, really, it's on a whole nother plane of gaming, as you can tell just by looking at the incorporation of traps, the group dynamic. I mean, the stats, the skill trees, the epic destinies, which I have not really covered yet, but epic destinies requires definitely more in-depth explanation that I'll be talking about later. But essentially, well, I'll be talking about that later, because that goes into a whole nother level of this game, which is revealed to you once you play for a while and kind of start to understand the dynamic of stats and true reincarnations and whatnot. Not something that's easy to explain to the DDO novice. Then here, with traps comes a lot of other skills and stats, such as, you can see here, reflex saves, fortitude saves, will saves, evasion, fortification. Those are all things that differ on the classes. Something like a rogue or a monk has high evasion and saves, things that allow you to dodge traps and not get hit as much by enemies, that other more hardy characters like me, a fighter or barbarian, don't have. Oh, that's not good. As you can see here, our monk did not have the proper rolls to save out of this trap. As you can see, there's an event flying up in air that will shoot you into these spikes on the ceiling that you can see by looking up on the screen. Pretty nasty trap they've set up here. The whole point is to get to the bottom without getting caught in these air vents and stabbed to death on the top of the roof. No simple feat, but for good gamers it can be done. Because somebody else is probably going to have to take the evasion here, because I stand no chance. As you can see, my saves are hot. My highest saves are 23. I would get destroyed by this trap. Yeah, and you can see here Onkai, he's talking about caking at the bottom as if all else fails. And essentially what that means is, if you look in, you can get these things called Siberian cakes, where it allows you to resurrect yourself. One of the variety of perks you get from buying things from the DDO store. As you can see here, that pretty much allows you to resurrect yourself. So he's saying I can bypass this trap by dying, going to the bottom, which bypasses the air vents, resurrect myself, then resurrect the rest of the party, which is a clever way of bypassing the fact that nobody has the proper saves and will not be able to hit the rolls to do this.
This is interesting.
Yeah. Which brings us in to talk about the DDO store.
And who was worried it would be boring?
As you can see here, by clicking Control S, we can open up the DDO store, which has this point system like many other games. It's kind of like Nexon Cash and MapleStory, or
Right.
you know, whatever Cash and Uber Strike. It's the you make the druid. You can get it in two different ways, either by buying points with real money, or every time you get every month of membership you get a free 500 points. Plus you can get favor, which is kind of essentially the same thing that you can get from playing through a lot of quests multiple times, doing favors for different NPCs and people in the game. But in the DDO store you can buy a variety of things. I have quite a lot of points actually saved up here, but as you can see, you can buy new adventure packs if you're a free-to-play player. I have access to unlimited adventure packs inside. I've already paid for this game. Do you guys want me just to hop and die?
Hold on, I got it.
Okay, it looks like you may be able to figure this out. But back to the DDO store, as you can see, character slots for more character creation if you've already capped out your character slots, which is actually a pretty high number. So I don't know why you'd really need to do that. But then you can unlock races and classes if you want a new race or class, but you don't want to buy the whole unlimited package. Shared banks, you can share your bank between different characters. Veteran status, which allows you to start at level 7, 3, or 7 instead of level 0. Which is kind of stupid unless you've already played through those levels once and you're just, coming back with a character later wanting to bypass some of that initial grinding, And then, we've got plenty of other things, 32-point build, which goes back to the initial stat abilities you have, epic destinies, you have healing, magic potions, the experience boosts, cosmetic gear, cosmetic pets, guild and hireling ship equipment, and, bundles of many things put together, all kinds of stuff. It's a great tool, I think, and I think Turbine's done a nice job of implementing a DDO store without making it a pay-to-win game, which is a kind of I guess doctrine you see a lot of the new age gaming companies are taking up, of just kind of making it so the more money you have in real life, the more money you're willing to spend. As you can see, there's a trap here we're trying to get past. The more money you're willing to spend in real life, the better you can be at a game, which to me is bullshit. I mean, why should one person be better at a game than somebody else just because they can pay for more in real life? It's nonsense, and I think Turbine's done a nice job of making it pretty even. The majority of the things you can buy from the DDO store will not make you better at playing the game. Maybe it'll make your time a little easier with EXP potions, or EXP. I mean, anyone who's watching game videos has to know what that is, but EXP means experience, so experience potions that boost your experience gain, or things like that. Maybe even potions that you really won't come across in the game otherwise. Like, for instance, mana potions, or in this game, spell point mana. To me, I've played so many MMORPGs, it's kind of an interchangeable term, but in this game, it's an interesting dynamic, because you can buy health potions and you can buy mana potions. However, they're not really that useful. You have, and yet, mana and HP are incredibly useful. So in some games like MapleStory, you can buy as many potions as you want and just continuously give yourself full HP, full MP, and it doesn't really matter, because the point of it is not to survive, it's just to train, increase in level. But in this game, there's a huge element of survivability. And you cannot really buy SP potions in the game without having either a lot of in-game money or buying mana points, or buying, mana pots from the DDO store. And you can buy health pots, but I mean, the best health pot you can buy, without a couple exceptions, is a serious wound pot, which gives you about 24 hit points or 24 health back. As you can see, 24 hit points when you're getting mobbed by monsters wouldn't help you too much. Seeing the lowest HP a member of our party has 360. I mean, and I have 530. You can see Ew over here has buffed almost 700 points. So, I mean, 30 HP when he's getting mobbed isn't going to help him too much against a lot of the monsters and bosses we'd face in this game. But yeah, back to what we were doing here. We were talking a little bit about the game dynamic, but I want to get back into this quest in particular, the Monastery of the Scorpion. I think it's definitely a great quest. one of the quests you're going to farm a lot when playing Dungeons & Dragons at a higher level. It's one of the best quests to help put you over that peak from 19 to 20, 18 to 20, which is essentially what I'm doing right now. As you see, I'm level 19, trying to reach 20, then I'm going to immediately TR instead of working on Epic Destinies. I'm not going to worry about that too much until I get into a higher number of TRs. I'm thinking maybe after 4 or 5 TRs I may cap this character. There's a couple people going for Completionist, which is essentially where you TR your character to the maximum number of limits, but which gives you a variety. Well, it pretty much means you're a god. You have a lot of time on your hands, and you get a variety of epic buffs for doing such. But I mean, to me, it doesn't seem like the kind of game in which you're just trying to, max out your character, because to an extent, it won't really help you increase your damage or stats that much beyond a certain point. Like getting a couple TRs in cleric.
Punch your bat.
You get 3 TRs in each class. So like getting 3 true incarnation lives of just pure cleric isn't going to help you if your in-game character is going to be like a rogue or something, So it's a lot more balanced of a game rather than just grinding away to the end goal, which is really irrelevant to a lot of the gameplay. I'm working with the heroism pots, lesser, I don't think I need these right now, but as you can see, here's one of the variety of puzzles you'll encounter in Dungeons & Dragons. In which it looks like Ankai seems to be solving it, so we can get this unlocked and move down to the latter part of the quest. Yeah, moving on to the latter part of the quest, in which at the end of this quest we're essentially just trying to get to this room so we can kill this boss and move on, get some great XP and level up.